You know that you should be doing quarterly planning. You've probably heard it from coaches before, you've read something on the internet, but it comes around to the next quarter and you still have no plan. I work with so many clients that this is their problem. And so I've created a Claude skill for you that connects Claude and ClickUp to create an amazing quarterly planning skill that is going to help you be able to get more done. And in the next quarter, you're going to be able to start seeing all of your goals and all the things that you want to actually get accomplished, you're going to get accomplished. So let's dive into how this actually works. First, we want to talk about what's the strategy, because here at Operations Elevated, everything that we talk about is strategy first, AI second. So let's first look through what is actually going on in this skill. And if you want this skill, all you need to do is join our free community. It's called the AI Ops Yacht Club. There is a link to it right below. So join that, and then you'll be able to find this video with the link to the skill. So you can go ahead and grab that. So if we look here inside Claude, we have the quarterly planning skill. And if we look at this skill, whole job is to look and build out what are the 3 to 7 priorities that you are going to accomplish in the next 90 days. We are going to pressure test these things, because one of the things that I find when I'm working with clients is that they set their priorities and their priorities are either way too big, that they should actually be an annual goal and not a quarterly goal, or I see that they are too small and it's something that they can accomplish in about 2 weeks. Those are not 90-day quarterly planning priorities. So I have the skill built in that is going to check what are you selecting for your actual priorities to have, so that way you're doing things that are actually going to be moving the needle in your business and it's not too big. Because the problem is, if you create a priority that is too big, then you're not going to actually finish it in the 90 days. And then from there, then you start getting frustrated and you're like, hey, I actually didn't do the things that I said I was going to do. Or if they're too small, you get them done really, really quickly. And because they're done so quickly, then you have nothing else to work on for the rest of the 90 days. So we want to find that sweet spot. So this skill is actually going to help you in determining, do you have the right one? It's also going to be aligned with your team. So if you have a team that you want to start assigning these things to, as you're building out, is going to be asking you questions. Who's on your team? What are the things that they do? So that way we can make sure that we're assigning the right task to the person that's actually going to be doing it. Then we're going to look through at if there is an annual plan that you have, are the things that we're doing for this quarterly plan, is it going to help us to reach our annual plan? And if you want me to do a video about how you create annual plans, let me know in the comments and I'll create a video on that. I do have a skill that walks you through how to create an annual plan, and I can walk you through all the strategy and everything around that if that's something you want. So just let me know in the comments. All right, so our core principles of this is that a quarter is 13 weeks. It's not enough time to get everything done. So we're not going to try to do everything. We want to find what are the priorities that we can actually finish in 13 weeks, not just work on. And that's going to help us know, is this the right size? So that's the first thing that we're going to check, is we're going to check what is our annual plan. If there's not an annual plan, we're going to start putting together what are our goals that we're going to be accomplishing in the next 90 days. Then it's going to ask you questions about what things worked well and what things didn't work well. What are some things that we need to start working on? What are some things that maybe you should start doing? Maybe you've heard of start, stop, keep. So if we look back at the last 90 days, what are things that we need to stop doing? What are some things we need to start doing? And what are some things that we are doing that we want to keep? And so this is going to ask you through all of these questions. Now, I'm going to show you how you can use this skill. There's 2 ways that you can use this skill. If you have a project that's set up for your business already that has like your business knowledge base, I would highly suggest doing it there in your business knowledge base, because when you do that, it's already pulling from things that you already have connected to it. If you want this to pull financial information and everything, if you use this skill inside Claude Cowork, you can do that, and then is connected to if you're using QuickBooks or Xero or anything like that, and it can pull from the data to help you look at what did you do last quarter and then what are you going to be doing for the next quarter. So it works either in chat or Cowork. Then it has a template for how it's going to put all of this together. It's going to look at what your priorities are. Then it's going to look at making sure that you have enough time allotted to get these things done. Because again, these are the main problems that I see when people are creating their priorities for the quarter. So this is where strategy really matters when we're using AI. Because if I could totally just go into Claude and I can say, help me write a quarterly plan and put a prompt together, but it's not going to have all of this knowledge of what are the things that people do right and people do maybe not right in creating quarterly plans. So this is all baked into this skill. It's going to go through and answer all of these types of questions. It's going to ask for your feedback. It gives examples of what good looks like. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create a month and weekly goals and create subtasks, and then we will create a metrics dashboard at the end. So let's look and see what this looks like once you've installed this skill. To install it, all you'll need to do is go into our AI Ops Yacht Club and find this video. It will be attached there that you can just download. Then you're gonna come into Claude. So here, you're gonna go to Customize, and then you're gonna click on Skills. Then you're going to click this plus button and go to Upload Skill. That's how you're going to get this quarterly plan skill into your own Claude to run this. So I've already run this for a pretend business, so you can kind of see what it looks like. So it went through and interviewed me, asked me a bunch of questions about it, and then this is what it has come up with. So it's just doing a quarter plan for quarter one. It goes through to see if an annual plan exists. It doesn't, so it's just going to keep going through. It puts together, this is the review of 2025. So it's going to look at what was the last quarter. We want to review what happened last quarter, so that way we know what was working, what wasn't, what are some of the things that we need to change, so that way we can then move forward and like really be moving the needle in our business. Then it's going to set priorities. We're going to look at the different feedbacks on what our priorities are. So here's priority one. We're going to cut monthly client churn by 8% to under 3% by the end of the quarter. So this is going to give a verdict. Is this the right size? Yes. Then we have this one, build and launch a referral program that generates 5 qualified leads per month. So this says it's likely too big. If it is too big, now if you've done referral programs before and you're like, no, I totally can do that in the end of a quarter, great. Push back on Claude 2. That's okay to kind of push back and say, this is why I think this, prove me wrong of why I can't do this. And then you can start kind of talking through this and building out what your priorities are. So we have our priority list. It's going to break up what each month that we're going to do, what our milestones are. So we know what are the things that we're actually working towards. This is the biggest thing that I see, that when people set their priorities, they're like, great, I'm going to reduce my churn in my business. But then there's nothing. You don't do anything after that. You don't know what the milestones are to make sure those things are actually happening. You don't take the time to, one, identify the milestones, but then break things down of each week, what are the things that you need to do in order to make sure that that thing happens. And that is the beauty of using AI, because AI can look through this and it can very easily break out, these are the things that you need to do. So it breaks us down of what our monthly milestones are. It breaks down each week what needs to be done. Now, it also shows who is going to be the owner of this task and what the due dates of all of these things are. So you're going to look through this, and let's say that you are liking where it's going, but there's some things that you're like, no, this actually isn't working. We need to change something up. This is where you can have a conversation back and forth with Claude until you get your quarterly plan really dialed in. Now, when you're creating quarterly plans, I would probably set aside 2 hours or so to start building this out. But if you think those 2 hours, that's going to create you a very solid plan that you'll be able to reach your goals in the next 90 days. So this is going to build all of this out. We'll just scroll through to the bottom. We don't need to see all of these different pieces. It does create a one-pager. So it's like, okay, this is all the things that we're going to be working on. So if you are either a COO, operations director running the business, and you're helping build this out, or you are the founder of a business, you can take this and then go to your team and you can say, okay, this is what we're doing for the quarter. The other great thing about this is, depending on how big your team is, you could have your team, each member of your team that is over, like someone over marketing, someone over sales, they can create these for their own department. So you could have one that's for your overall company, but then you have these different priorities based off of each one of the departments, and your department head is going to run this and put this all together. Then once we have this all done, then this is where the magic happens. Because Claude is connected to ClickUp, it can push everything into your ClickUp for you. So let's just talk about how you connect it to ClickUp. You're going to come here to the same customize, then you're going to go to connectors. And there are tons of connectors here. You can see these are all the ones that I have connected. I can come here and do add connector. Then you can say browse connectors. And let's say you don't use ClickUp and you use Notion instead. You can just type in Notion right here, connect it, and then it can push to Notion. So it's okay if you don't use ClickUp, you want things pushed to Notion, or if you use Monday or any other software like that, look and see if it has a connector, because then it can actually take everything that you just planned inside Claude, and then we're going to start making it a reality by putting it into our task management system. So what does it look like when it gets pushed to Claude? So here I have a folder that's called my 90-day game plan. Now let's say that you are doing this for each department. You're doing one for marketing, you're doing one for sales. You could have a space that's just your quarterly planning, and then you could have different folders for each one of the departments. So the folder is for our overall 90-day game plan. Then we have each priority broken out here. So I have my priority 1, which is to cut churn from 8% to under 3%. So in order to do this, I have my milestones here. So in month 1, we need to create an exit interview process and have onboarding SOPs ready to go. That's our main priority to focus on for month 1. Then inside here on this, in the subtask, it has every week, these are the main things that we need to get done in order to make sure that we are going to be achieving that month 1 milestone. And you can go through and assign it to whoever it needs to be assigned to, and you're going to add in all of the due dates and everything. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that my big thing when it comes to ClickUp is that we want to make sure every single task has someone that is assigned to it and it has a due date. Because if you don't, it's really easy to get those tasks that are just kind of floating out there and no one really knows where they're at or what's going on. So every task needs to have a person assigned and to have a due date. So this is going to create that. So we have our priority 1, we have our priority 2, we have our priority 3. Each one of these is broken down, and it's going to have every week everything that you're supposed to do. This is going to keep you on track, so that way you know that you're actually going to be achieving your goals. So if you created quarterly plans before and it gets to the end of the quarter and you're like, I really haven't completed anything that I said I was going to, this is going to help you stay on track, especially when you start involving your team and they know exactly what to do. Because when you are very clear to your team and give them clear directions of what they're supposed to do, that is how you can really let your team rise. But you have to be clear, and this is a way that's going to help your team know exactly what it is they're supposed to be doing to help you be able to achieve the goals that you're looking for in the next quarter. The last thing is creating this scorecard. So this is where it's going to say these are metrics that you can start looking at to make sure that these things are happening. Now, this is just going to give you like a referral program. This is what we're going to start tracking. Now, to create this as a dashboard, depending on the CRM that you're using, you can create dashboards to be able to track all of these things. But if your CRM doesn't have dashboards, or if you're trying to pull in from other places, you can actually have Claude create this depending on what connectors it has. So when I say connectors, it's just thinking of how can I plug in other things that I use into Claude, so Claude can then get that information and can do things inside those other programs. So it's really cool to be able to connect everything into your business. And this is where really Claude is starting to become a second team member, because Claude knows everything that you know about your business. So if you found this helpful and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you subscribe. And if you want to have any more videos like this, let me know in the comments. And as always, make sure when you're building with AI that you are doing strategy first and then AI second. See you guys later.